In this video, I'm going to go over a way to interact with loose charged particles. This will be a good way to interact with the parameters to see how the parameters affect the dynamics without having spring forces involved. First, I'm going to go over some of the changes I've made to the input file. I've changed the initial spread since this affects loose particles. And then I've changed the force strength. I've also increased the cube length to 32. And then I've changed the color to 6, which is the charge color. And then I've set use springs to false. Use VR objects from file also to false. And then I've changed the soft cutoff to 28. And then set the charge offset to 0. And then set charged hands to true. And then I'll run the executable called charged split. If I hit the pause key twice really quick, the particles will come into view, and we can see that the particles have been separated out with positive on the left and negative on the right. And then if I play it, they'll kind of come together at the center. And then I can use my hands and see that kind of blue and blue repel and the reds attract. Then if I go to the other side to flip the coloring, the blue hand will start to suck in the red particles and the opposite with the red hand. And now my red hand is almost completely covered. But if I bring the blue hand closer, it'll change the average charge and some of the particles will fly off. And now there's so many blue particles on my hand that there's some red particles kind of floating around in the distance. And if you pull your hands outside of the boundary, it'll clean the hands off. And then as for mouse interactions, since we've increased the charge, it'll become pretty hard to move the particles with the higher forces. So we may need to set it to velocity. But for single particles, this may actually be too strong. So you can experiment with changing the force values. Definitely, the leap motion hands are recommended for experimenting like this. And you can use the WASD camera controls to kind of move your body or hand around the simulation space. And now that we've kind of mixed up the particles, we can kind of see some interesting shapes. We had, a little bit of like a donut right here. And then a lot of strands and some almost cube-like shapes too. Thank you for watching.